Searching for life on Mars. It's a mission for NASA scientists Dr. Alfonso de Villa and Dr. Margarita Marinova from NASA Ames Research Center in Northern California. They're here to share some fascinating findings.
My name is Margarita Marinova.
My name is Alfonso de Villa.
I'm currently working on trying to understand the high elevation dry valleys in Antarctica.
And I do work in extreme environments on Earth, which are considered to be analogs to Mars.
We really try to understand extreme environments, and a lot of that relates to what we see on Mars.
Mars is a very extreme, dry and cold desert. And so on Earth, we search for places which are like Mars, so we can understand how life can survive in these conditions. The driest desert on Earth is in Chile. It's called the Atacama Desert. It never rains. Any microorganism in the soil doesn't have access to any liquid water.
In Antarctica, it's very cold, it is very dry. And then through that, we can really go to a place like Mars and say, when was the last time that there could have been life on Mars, given what we know from the limits of life on Earth? As far as we know, organisms really need water in order to survive. But when we really look, there are definitely places where there's no obvious water, there are no rivers, there are no lakes, but there's still organisms living there. So for example, one thing that was found is that even at freezing temperatures, organisms can use the edges of ice as effectively liquid. Another example actually in sandstones, especially in Antarctica, is that they'll live inside the rock. There's actually enough room between the grains of sand that they'll live in there, and it's warmer, there's some moisture.
The place we found lots of life in the Atacama, microbial life, was the interior of salt. Inside this salt, we find large numbers of microorganisms, green microorganisms, which are called photosynthetic because they use the light of the sun to make up their food. It turns out that salt in the Atacama provides that which is most important for life and which is not found in the Atacama, which is liquid water.
By actually measuring the chemistry of the environment, measuring how much moisture is available, even just as water vapor in that environment, we can bracket the conditions under which these organisms can survive.
We know that Mars has been dry for a very long time. We know that there was water early in the beginning of in the history of the planet. Now it's completely dry. What you see here is a picture of Mars. The white deposit, where you have the large impact crater, this has been by satellite, they have shown that this deposit contains chloride. Chloride is one of the components of halite. Salt that is called halite, and it's exactly the same salt we put in our food. It's been suggested that this is actually an ancient lake bed, and what you see on the surface are the evaporated salts. Exactly the same situation we have in the Atacama.
And so we're trying to understand, what do organisms really need to survive?
What strategies can a microorganism develop to survive when conditions become so dry.
And so we can really get a very in-depth understanding of what's happening in these areas, what conditions are there, how do they affect it. And then from that knowledge, we can take it and apply it to Mars.
If you want to bring more insight and the excitement of